If you like, I can lead the kirtan, starting.
We would like it.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Puri Rajakacharya Ashtottara Satashri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Brindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi Ki Jai Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
Welcome everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Tuesday, May 6th, and today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 4, 14, 18. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yasya Rastre Purachaiva Bhagavan Yagya Purusha Ijate Svena Dharmena Vinir Varnashaman. Translation. The king is supposed to be pious, in whose state and cities the general populace strictly observes the system of 8 social orders of Varna and Ashram, and where all citizens engage in worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their particular occupations. Purport. The state's duty and the citizen's duty are very nicely explained in this verse. The activities of the government head or king, as well as the activities of the citizens, should be so directed that ultimately everyone engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The king or government head is supposed to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and is therefore supposed to see that things go on nicely and that the citizens are situated in the scientific social order comprised of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that unless people are educated or situated in the scientific social order comprised of 4 Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and 4 Ashramas, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, society can never be considered real human society, nor can it make any advancement towards the ultimate goal of human life. It is the duty of the government to see that things go on in terms of Varna and Ashrama. As stated herein, Bhagavan Yagya Purusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the Yagya Purusha. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. Krishna is the ultimate purpose of all sacrifice. He is also the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Therefore, he is known as Yagya Purusha. The word Yagya Purusha indicates Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna or any personality of Godhead in the category of Vishnu Tattva. In perfect human society, people are situated in the orders of Varna and Ashrama and are engaged in worshiping Lord Vishnu by their respective activities. Every citizen engaged in an occupation renders service by the resultant actions of his activities. That is the perfection of life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:46, Yata Prabhatir Bhuttanam Yana Sarvam Idam Tatam Vakamana Tam Abhyar Shya Siddhim Vindati Manava. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. Do you have any thoughts since it's a long report?
Yeah. Om Jnanatmirandasya Jnanandjana Surataya Chaturmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Tapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Datapi Shabadavantika Vande Hang Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raganatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deen Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sinto Pyevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Yasya Rastre Pure Jaiva Bhagavan Yagya Purusha Ijyate Srena Dharmena Janayar Varnashraman Vita. The king is being instructed that your duty is to see that everyone is performing their prescribed duties very nicely. Nicely means two things. In terms of the Varnashram Dharma and directed toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Varnashrama Charadvata Purushena Parapuman Vishnu Aradyate Anta Nanya Tato Shakar. This is the way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone should be engaged in their Svena Dharma, by their own Dharma. That's part of Dharma Bhayavaha. No one should be engaged in duties other than their own. Then you have, otherwise you'll have social confusion. But when everybody has, everybody knows their job and everyone does their job, then you'll have a smooth organization. It's a simple thing. You have a business. So everybody has to know this is my job. And then they do their job. And the other people do their job. Not that I try to do the other man's job. He tries to do my job. Then everything gets confused and you get spaghetti kind of organization, everything all over the place. But if everybody knows this is my part to play in a military organization, everyone knows this is my part. In a sports team, everybody knows, I'm the catcher, I'm the pitcher, then everyone has their own work to perform. And they become very expert. And everything goes on nicely. So the king is supposed to see to this, that the state should go on nicely. That means everyone should be performing their own duty. Otherwise, Prabhupada said, it's not real human society. And it can't make advancement toward the real goal of life. So the king should know that the Supreme Lord is the Bhokta, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He's the enjoyer of all sacrifices, Yagya Purusha. Yagya is required. Everything should be done for Yagya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudeva Paramaka. He's the ultimate purpose of all sacrifice. And yata pravitir bhutanam yena sarvam tatam. Doesn't matter whether I'm a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Everyone can become perfect by performing their own duties. For karmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vidati. Everyone can achieve perfection. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I actually had a question based on your discussion of, you were bringing up the example of a baseball team, that when an organization has people that know their area of expertise and engage in that area of expertise, then you can have a team that goes someplace. I was thinking of Prabhupada's MO in the formation of ISKCON, and the way that perhaps ISKCON continued after Prabhupada's manifest departure. But my sense of of Prabhupada's management was that he was very, very good at understanding people's nature and engaging them. At the same time, he also understood that as an elderly person, he wanted to get a movement up and running as quickly as possible using whatever raw materials Krishna sent him. So I wonder if you have any observations along those lines that, here and so many other places, Prabhupada is saying, one should act according to his nature, one should be engaged according to his nature. But in the early formative years of ISKCON, and maybe we're still in those formative years, it seems that there's more of an emergency management idea where whatever you do, it doesn't matter, just preach. Just do something to get this movement spread. It doesn't matter if you're a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Forget about that. Just get out there and chant.
Yeah, as you said, emergency management. Hansarupa Prabhu was talking the other day, battlefield commission. They, give you they promote you to a lieutenant or something. It's not your permanent status, but you're given that commission because it's needed. Or the old films, the Western films, where they pin a badge on you and you're a deputy. So Prabhupada engaged people as needed. But I remember there was one GBC man, and he was not a good manager. And Prabhupada, in fact, said after he messed something up, he said he cannot manage. But he kept him anyway. Prabhupada kept him. Because what can you do when you have no resources? That's like apadharma, emergency. Use whatever you have. So that's what Prabhupada, certainly it would have been preferable to have had expert managers from the start, to have had expert financial people in every center, to have had everything in the right place, highly qualified Brahmins. But what can you do? So yes, Prabhupada just took everyone and plugged them in. And from one point of view, yeah, you plug people in. It's preferable if you can have the right person in the right job. But in an emergency situation, yeah, anyone from any condition, and let them do something.
Maharaj, Prabhupada had a lot of patience when he started this movement, and it took him almost a year, but a lot of patience. That was a very good part.
Unlimited, seemingly unlimited patience, and to deal with, when you consider what the real standard of Brahminical culture is, what the real standard of management is, and Prabhupada knew what real management was. He knew what things should have been, and just to take what he got and somehow or other plug them in and use them, it was what would you say? No brilliance, of course, but it evidenced such patience and such what's the word, humility also, that all right, this is what Krishna sent me, so I'll somehow use these resources. Not that go back to Krishna and say, you expect me to work with these people? How do you think I'm going to get anything done? No, this is what you're sending, this is what I'll use.
Nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, there's a comment that Panchatattva Prabhu sent, but he's on the road, so I'll read it for him. But I thought it was especially nice. He says, I think we are often surprised at how many talents one possesses when they surrender to Krishna.
Mm. Yeah. That's also there. Survived. Yes, Yasti Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinchan and Survived Gunais Tetra. Samasade. One develops all the good qualities of the demigods. So many capabilities are there. Everything. People become wonderful just by becoming Vaishnavas. Before being connected to Krishna, they were useless.
Mm.
And once they're connected to Krishna, every person has value. Monkey army.
Prabhupada often also gave the example of a man who's walking along, finds a gourd, finds a stick, finds a piece of wire. By themselves, junk, but put together intelligently, you've got a nice musical instrument.
Yes. Prabhupada told me that example. Since a man, intelligent man, he does this. He said, similarly, I've collected all you American and European boys and girls. You're useless, but I've made something. He didn't say that, but that was the parallel. You're useless, but I've made something out of you.
Panchatattva Prabhu adds Shabdake Porusham Rishu.
Capability.
Okay, picking up from the middle of the purport of text 18. Thus, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Sudras, and Vaishyas must execute their prescribed duties, as these duties are stated in the Shastras. In this way, everyone can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The king or government head has to see that the citizens are thus engaged. In other words, the state or the government must not deviate from its duty by declaring that the state is a secular one, which has no interest in whether or not the people advance in Varnashram Dharma. Today, people engaged in government service and people who rule over the citizens have no respect for the Varnashram Dharma. They complacently feel that the state is secular. In such a government, no one can be happy. The people must follow the Varnashram Dharma, and the king must see that they are following it nicely.
Yeah, it's sort of we're grown up with the instruction that the state is supposed to be secular, that it must be secular, that this is sort of a what's the word? The achievement of our forefathers, that they established a secular state. But even our democratic forefathers were unlikely to have envisioned that the state would be disconnected from divinity and therefore demonic, that it would be that it would decry or decry divinity, that it would deny any connection with divinity, that it would just be totally mundane institution that had no connection with God, which was perfectly happy denying God, or at least assigning to him a position of irrelevance in relation to the state. From what I've gathered, our forefathers, or the founding fathers, they weren't my forefathers, but founding fathers were not so impious that they had such a notion. We just, God, it doesn't matter to her. the state that we're forming. But we've taken it to that level that God is irrelevant, and the state has no connection with God. Apart from that, here the Vedic conception is just clearly theistic, that everything is meant for the satisfaction of God. God is the chief person to whom all the activities of the state should be dedicated. And here's the social system by which this can be accomplished. And if we follow this system, we'll have a fortunate state, a pious state, a spiritually progressive state, a state in which there'll be law and order and prosperity. There'll be everything for executing the real mission of human life. Otherwise, we come to a state where there is no mission of human life, where everything's helter-skelter, where there's no such thing as prescribed duty. It's just whatever you want to do. And it's a mess. So this is, you can say, is very much counter to democracy as conceived in the modern context. Prabhupada was not a supporter of secular, mundane, godless democracy. This is a theistic social system. Varnashram dharma is explicitly a theistic social system. God is the chief living entity, and all other living entities stand in relationship to God. And specifically in human society, every human being has some duty to perform in relation to the personality of Godhead. Not that we can just declare God irrelevant and get on with our business of running the state. It's not going to work. Hare Krishna. And also Prabhupada made the point that this system is everywhere already. It's just not, things aren't organized accordingly. But in every part of the world, you'll find there's intelligent people, there's take charge people, there's people who are into business and finance and agriculture, and there's a work class. You can't avoid it. It's already there. So one, rather than deny it, acknowledge it and engage everyone according to their capabilities to have a state that works. And don't steal from the citizens, that we were discussing. The ministers should not become thieves, living at the expense of the people. Everyone should be provided with their necessities for life. Everyone has a right to be happy. Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu. Hare Krishna.
There are no tender group.
Oh yeah, it was just I had mentioned yesterday that I had been listening to a class on these exact verses that we're reading now by Dhruta Karma Prabhu, and he's speaking about the history of the decline of monarchies and the various revolutions in succession that have led us to the condition that we're in now, as Maharaj was describing. And I find it's very refreshing to hear, just from a historical standpoint, how the social, the religious climate of the world was so different, not so very long ago, in terms of people's commonly held understanding of the universe as coming from God, as opposed to how it's now institutionally taught that everything comes from nothing, from a singularity, from a big bang or whatever. but it helps to know history and how things haven't changed very much in a very short period of time.
How it's descended to a demonic sort of a chaos in short order. Yeah. I was just remembering, just my American history is nothing but the Pilgrim Fathers. They were, religion was one of their prime concerns. Probably the prime concern. We look at it. America owes so much to. Anyway, so that God consciousness is required, or the state will be state of demons.
And Ross Prabhu, Panchatattva Prabhu, has stopped moving in his moving vehicle and can read if you would like.
Yes, I was wondering if Panchatattva Prabhu was able to read. Panchatattva Prabhu, can you read text 19 if you're available?
Let's try it. Let's see. I move between screens. Text 19. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Tasiragyo Mahabhago Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavanaha Paritushyati Visvatma Tishtato Nijasasane. O noble one, if the king sees that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original cause of the cosmic manifestation and the supersoul within everyone, is worshipped, the Lord will be satisfied. Purport. It is a fact that the government's duty is to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by the activities of the people as well as by the activities of the government. There is no possibility of happiness if the government or citizenry have no idea of Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original cause of the cosmic manifestation, or if they have no knowledge of Bhuta Bhavana, who is Vishvatma, or the Supersoul, the soul of everyone's soul. The conclusion is that without engaging in devotional service, neither the citizens nor the government can be happy in any way. At the present moment, neither the king nor the governing body is interested in seeing that people are engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, they're more interested in advancing the machinery of sense gratification. Consequently, they are becoming more and more implicated in the complex machinery of the stringent laws of nature. People should be freed from the entanglement of the three modes of material nature, and the only process by which this is possible is surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is advised in Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, neither the government nor the people in general have any idea of this. They're simply interested in sense gratification and in being happy in this life. The word nijasasane, in his own governmental duty, indicates that both the government and the citizens are responsible for the execution of Varnashram Dharma. Once the populace is situated in the Varnashram Dharma, there is every possibility of real life and prosperity, both in this world and in the next. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jayadvaita Swami Niti Namine Om Jnana Timarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So instruction continues here, pointing out the necessary responsibility of the head of state, as well as the structure, the state's structure, its its organization, the purpose of its function as an organization, is to see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied by the people as well as by its own activities. And it's spelled out very clearly that unless that is the kind of what we would say prime directive of the government, then there's going to be a lot of difficulty, both for the citizenry as well as the government itself. We operate, if we do anything in the material world in ignorance of our relationship with Krishna, we become entangled. It's just the law of karma. It's how it works. And it's also how we flail about if we lose our connection with the Supreme and start thinking about everything in terms of sense gratification. I was listening to Akendra Prabhu's wonderful presentation of the Prabhupada Lilamrita as an audiobook. And Prabhupada was back at Dr. Mishra's ashram with a group of some of Mishra's students as well as some of his own, now that he had established himself and had some students. And he started talking about the faults of democracy. And he was pointing out that primarily the fault is that the people themselves are interested in sense gratification, and they're going to vote for someone who will fulfill their, essentially gross material desires without any higher consideration, because they themselves are contaminated by the lower modes of nature. And their interest, their only interest, is in satisfying their senses. This is the problem in modern society. There's no organized attempt to uplift people. Varnashram actually is meant for that purpose. It doesn't mean that everybody is going to go from being a Shudra to a Brahmana in this life. But what it means is it gives them a chance to see the path to a higher position, a better understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It doesn't mean that someone who's a Sudra is useless. I mean, we have great personalities in the history of Mahabharata who are essentially categorized as Sudras, but who are indeed pure devotees of the Lord. So it's not like that. But what it means is that regardless of our apparent material qualifications, our spiritual qualification has to be there. We have to become Krishna conscious. And then whatever activities we're involved in an organized state, with the organized purpose of uplifting everyone, those contributions to society will be good and will have a lasting beneficial effect, both for ourselves as well as for the greater society. Otherwise, there's just one conflict of interest after another, one set of identity politics after another, one contest for who's going to get more sense gratification than another. And that's basically useless life. Hare Krishna.
It's notable that the Varnashram is the prescribed system, and the goal is devotion to the personality of Godhead. That has to be kept in mind. It's not just getting everybody to perform their prescribed duty. That's essential, but for a purpose, for a specific target. Otherwise, it becomes an empty system. Everyone's just performing their duty, but it's not Tamabhyarcha. It's not for the worship of the personality of Godhead. That's not going to satisfy the devotee. The whole thing has to be directed toward divinity, toward the personality of Godhead. Otherwise, the system becomes empty or purposeless. Becomes purposeless. We forget what the purpose of the whole thing is. So that has to be remembered. And even, yes, Hare Krishna.
I have a question. How does the Varnashram system direct those who are against the service of the personality of Godhead?
It deals with them harshly, as far as I can understand. Anyway, you may be for or against, but you have to perform your duty. That much at least. You may, whatever your thoughts are, wherever your sentiments or beliefs lie, still, if you're whatever you are, you have to perform your prescribed duty. But yeah. Otherwise, those who are, we'd have to look and see. I was reading something not that long ago on answering your question, but the state is not very appreciative of citizens who are just impious, who are tuskritana muta. They're, in one sense, and particularly, they're unfit to be Brahmins, or to be, the teachers of society. The teachers are just, they've got a degree, they know a science or an art, and they teach. But they should be godly persons. Otherwise, they'll be all impious, all rascals, as Prabhupada would say. They should be the most pious people. They should be the most pure. They should be the most clear in their vision of the purpose of life. Otherwise, the teachers are cheaters. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, as I was hearing this purport, especially this line, unfortunately, neither the government nor the people in general have any idea of this, meaning surrender to the Lord. They're simply interested in sense gratification and in being happy in this life. I was getting the sense that when Prabhupada is describing the actual duties of a government head or a king, it's very much analogous to the responsibility a father has for his children. Children, what do they want? They just want to be happy. They want to play. And if the father just caves to that mentality and says, okay, yeah, play, do whatever you want, then you get chaos. And in the state, you similarly get that when the leader is not taking responsibility to the degree that he actually has to.
Yeah. It's the duty of the king to see that the citizens have sufficient sense gratification, the requisites for regulated material enjoyment, but still more important, it's his duty to see that the citizens are engaged in devotional service, that they're progressing in spiritual life. That's the duty, not this empty, godless system. Hare Krishna.
It also occurred to me, Maharaj, that in the case of Vena, he gets angry when the sages point out the facts to him, that there is a God, that there are rules, that God must be served. And similarly, in our own experience, we see that when someone is just acting whimsically and wanting to go on acting whimsically, and someone brings up that there are actual rules that need to be followed, or laws, let's say, that are meant to regulate the nature of a person who wants to just go on acting whimsically for sense gratification, is he becomes mad. He gets really angry that somebody should, dare to impinge on his pursuit of sense gratification.
The pious people, the people who are accept the primacy of Nija Shashana, the transcendental government of the Lord, the authority of the Lord, should band together and require that their leaders be persons with first of all, who accept the personality of Godhead, at least that much. And second, that they're godly in character, not just some lip service. Yes, we accept God. At least that should be there. Previously, a politician had to be like that. Even now, now it's gone. But I remember when I was very young, it was like the politicians all made at least a pretense of acknowledging God. Now that's gone.
We move on to our next verse. Okay, we have something in the chat from Saraswati Mataji. Pranams Param Puja Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas. We know about Nivritti and Pravritti Marg, but materialistic people frown at adopting the Nivritti Marg for the ultimate good, and yet they are busy, toiling endlessly with no final happy situation in sight. They cannot see the futility of this material life, citing this life is all there is, and our eternal world is a pipe dream.
Even for pravritti, they should engage in the service of the Lord. That was the advice given by Suniti to Dhruva Maharaj, that your great grandfather, Lord Brahma, engaged in the service of the Lord and became the creator of the universe. Your grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu, engaged in the service of the Lord and attained the status of Manu. So if you want material happiness or you want spiritual happiness, then you should engage in the service of the Lord. People think that they're getting material happiness by denying, just going on in their own way without any acknowledgement of God. No, they become more confused, more wretched, more confused and more wretched. No, by intoxication, I'll be happy. By sex, I'll be happy. This kind of sex, that kind of sex, I'll become happy. I have to be ready to do anything to become happy. And the result is they become more miserable. By trying to have a civilization in which anything goes, they make themselves unfortunate and miserable. So even if they have lots of gadgets and lots of money, they have lots of tranquilizers and mind, what do they call them? Anyway, drugs meant to try to do something for the mind, because their minds are afflicted. Where's the happiness?
Saraswati Mataji writes, they drink, smoke, take drugs, etc., to forget their miserable situation, not knowing it makes things worse.
Yes.
For text 20, I'm wondering if Madhupati Prabhu would be able to read.
I think I'm under the weather, so if somebody else can read, that's good.
Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, are you able to read?
Okay. Text number 20. Tasmin stuste kima prapyam Jagatamishware Aishwareshware Loka Sapala Hetasmai Haranti Balimadhyata. The Supreme Personality Godhead is worshipped by the great demigods, controllers of the universal affairs. When he is worshipped, nothing is impossible to achieve. For this reason, all the demigods, presiding deities of different planets, as well as the inhabitants of their planets, take great pleasure in offering all kinds of paraphernalia for their worship. All Vedic civilization is summarized in this verse. All living entities, either on this planet or on the other planets, have to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their respective duties. When he is satisfied, all necessities of life are automatically supplied. In the Veda, it is also stated, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. For the Vedas, we understand that, from the Vedas, we understand that he is supplying everyone's necessities. And we can actually see that. The lower animals, the birds and the bees have no business or profession, yet they are not dying for want of food. They are all living in nature's way, and they all have the necessities of life provided, namely eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Human society, however, has artificially created a type of civilization which makes one forgetful of his relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Modern society even enables one to forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead's grace and mercy. Consequently, modern civilized man is always unhappy and in need of things. People do not know that the ultimate goal of life is to approach Lord Vishnu and satisfy himself. They have taken this materialistic way of life as everything and have become captivated by materialistic activities. Indeed, the leaders are always encouraging them to follow this path. And the general populace, being ignorant of the laws of God, are following the blind leaders down the path of unhappiness. In order to rectify this world situation, all people should be trained in Krishna consciousness and act in accordance with the Varnashram system. The state should also see that the people are engaged in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a primary duty of the state. The Krishna consciousness movement was started to convince the general populace to adopt the best process by which to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus solve all problems. So again, Prabhupada describing in his purport the importance of devotional service, that everybody, no matter who irrespective of his position, his varnash, his dharma or anything else, should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even demigods, he has stated, they all worship Supreme Personality of Godhead for protection. Every time they get into trouble, they think about Krishna, they worship him and ask for the protection. This is a way to do it. And the ultimate goal of life is Krishna anyway. Vedasya sarve aham eva vidyo. Vedanta Vedavit evachaham. So the end result has to be worship for Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Questions to take him and prop him. When the Lord is satisfied, what is there that's impossible to achieve? If he's satisfied, he can provide everything. Yeah. He's Ishra, controller of everything. Ishra. Ishra, Ishra. Yeah. Hare
And I also forgot to mention there are so many living entities in this world and in this universe. They don't have to go to work or anything. Krishna supplies everybody to everybody. So why not us? So I think we are coming at the end of the class, and I think I'm going to start the kirtan.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivicharya अष्टोत्तर ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिविचार्य अष्टोत्तर ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोधाम की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की माता मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा मई जमुना मई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories are Assembled Gurus. All glories Assembled Gurus. All glories Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Thank you very much, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His
Jai.
Holiness Jayadvaita Swami ki jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Yeah.
Premanande.
Hare Yeah, Maharaj, we had a nice Sita Navami yesterday at Tobacco. Bhakti Mark Swami came from Canada,
Oh, so what was there? You said a nice,
Sita Navami.
oh, Sita. No. Okay.
Yeah. We have Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. So
Mm. Good. Well, if Bhakti Marg Maharaj is still there, my obeisances to him.
okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all again. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Guru Maharaj. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Yeah.